This just in, the White House press briefing is now underway. This is an off-camera session with Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and we understand that she's currently being questioned about whether the president has had any communication with his son, Donald Trump Jr., in the wake of this revelation about the Russia meeting he had during the election. Not sure of the specifics, she said. She believes they have spoken in the past couple of days, but doesn't know any details. This, of course, after President Trump's son revealed emails that show he did indeed meet with a Russian lawyer who promised to give the Trump campaign incriminating information from the Russian government about competitor Hillary Clinton. That attorney, Natalia Veselnitskaya, now denying she has any ties to the Russian government and was only there to discuss Russia's adoption policy, which bans Americans from adopting Russian orphans. That ban came directly after Congress voted to pass what's called the Magnitsky Act. This act is a law that bans Russians implicated in human rights abuses, and it was spearheaded by hedge fund manager Bill Browder. He's the man on the left and the founder of Hermitage Capital. Browder pushed Congress to enact it in honor of his Russian tax lawyer Sergei Magnitsky, who was arrested and murdered in 2009 after exposing a $230 million tax fraud scheme at a Russian company Browder had invested in. Evidence showed high-level Kremlin officials had Magnitsky beaten to death in prison. So just what was Veselnitskaya's involvement with trying to overturn the Magnitsky Act? And what happens next? Joining us now is the man who avenged Magnitsky's murder, Bill Browder. Thank you for joining us. Bill, right off the bat, do you personally know, have you ever met Natalia Veselnitskaya, and what do you know about her?
Yes, I have met her. She has been the legal representative, the Russian legal representative for a Russian family headed by a senior Russian government official. That family had been indicted by the U.S. Department of Justice for having been involved in money laundering. They were accused of laundering some of the money that Sergei Magnitsky had exposed and was killed over, and they bought apartments in Manhattan. And so she basically showed up as a lawyer for the accused money launderers in New York, and I was a witness for the government in that case, and so I met her on the other side of the table as they were trying to wiggle their way out of that case.
So when it was revealed that this weekend that President Trump's son had enthusiastically welcomed her to Trump Tower during the campaign, what was your initial thought?
Well, you know, these people, so first of all, what was she doing? What was her objective? Her objective was to get rid of the Magnitsky Act. The Magnitsky Act sanctions Russian government officials who killed my lawyer. She wanted to get rid of that act. She wanted the U.S. government to repeal it. She's been all over. She's been all over Washington, all over everywhere, talking to anybody who will listen to her. And I was amazed, but not surprised, that she found her way into the Trump campaign at the time after he was nominated. I think that they probably had made a target to get to the Trump campaign, and they probably even made a target of getting to the Clinton campaign. They were ready to talk to anybody who would listen to them to try to repeal the Magnitsky Act.
Sergei's grave is on our screen right now, his tombstone. And this lawyer denies any ties with the Russian government. However, again, as you say, she seems to be the one tasked with getting the U.S. to overturn this act. She was shopping a propaganda film all over the place. It caused a bunch of drama. What do you see as the link between the law and Russian orphans beyond tit for tat after, of course, the act was enabled?
Well, so first of all, it's a complete nonsense that she cares about Russian orphans. If you look at her Twitter feed, she doesn't mention orphans once. She mentions the Magnitsky Act all the time. The whole issue with the orphans, let me just explain this to you and to everybody, is that Putin was so angry at the Magnitsky Act because he steals money in Russia, puts people in jail and kills them, and then keeps his money in the West. And the Magnitsky Act puts his money at risk. It makes his money unsafe.
Well, can I jump in here, because you have said that but for Maryland Democratic Senator Ben Cardin pushing for you, getting the Obama administration to even listen to your story was like pulling teeth. But this past April, President Trump declared firm support for the Magnitsky Act, saying the U.S. must hold human rights abusers accountable. How do you square his support of your act with the fact that his son met her? Because some are calling this meeting treasonous. I don't know if you agree with that. A lot of people don't.
Well, I don't really know. It's impossible for me to say what was in his head and what he was thinking. What I can say is that it wouldn't have taken a whole lot of Google research to figure out that this is a very sketchy person and you wouldn't want to meet with her. Now, I don't know whether he did his research, whether he has a team that does this due diligence for him. I really can't speak for what their decision-making process in meeting her. But she's not a good person, and there's no mystery to what she's up to.
But President Trump has spoken very supportive, shown a lot of support for the act and for what happened, right?
Well, what we know for sure is that he supports the global Magnitsky Act. He said so very explicitly in April. We have a big test case, which is that every December, the State Department and the Treasury Department declare new names for the Magnitsky list.
Okay.
They put new Russians on that list. And so we will have the first opportunity to see how Donald Trump will deal with the Magnitsky case in December. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed, and I'm hoping that maybe with all this notoriety around the Magnitsky Act, he takes it very seriously and he sanctions a lot of Russians, because that would be the right thing to do.
We've got to run, but do you believe that this meeting that was brokered has Russian President Vladimir Putin's fingerprints on it?
Well, I don't know whether he gets involved in the minutia of foreign operations. I can tell you for sure that this meeting was done for the benefit of Vladimir Putin by serious people high up in the Russian government. Whether he has his own fingerprints on it, probably not, because he can't keep track of so many different things. Okay.
I truly appreciate you being here. And by the way, Sergei Magnitsky was lucky to have you as a friend. Bill, thank you.
Thank you.
Bill Browder, Hermitage Capital CEO.